have never known this place without you here, and I think it will be. Well, it's going to be different. It's a delight to see your children here watching today. Because I know that while you have a responsibility to Parliament, that you take your responsibilities as a parent incredibly seriously also.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I, on behalf of those of us on these benches, wish you all the best for your impending retirement and salute you, sir, for the way that you have stood up for the democracy of this House in order that at this time of crisis that we hold the government to account. We trust that you enjoy your many passions in retirement. You'll always be welcome up in Scotland, and if you need to visit a football team as an antidote to Arsenal, you'll always be welcome at Easter Road to see the mighty Hibernian. And let me, Mr. Speaker, wish England all the best for the rugby on Saturday.
As your former Deputy Speaker, can I say that nobody has sat in that chair who has done more to defend and promote the rights of LGBTI people in this country and throughout the world, and when so many people live in fear of being born the way they are. I salute you. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, may I take the occasion of your last Prime Minister's questions and mine to join in the tributes to your own role in the chair. During your decade, there have been unprecedented attempts, really, to try to, at times, increase the power of the executive at the expense of this Parliament, and you have been very formidable in maintaining the duty of government to be accountable to this House. I trust your successor will try to live up to your very considerable achievement.
As the Father of the House leaves this place after 49 years without interruption, I, for one, want to salute him. And learned gentleman is one of the most popular and respected politicians in our country. For his service to this place, for his service to his constituents, and for his service to our country, he deserves the warmest appreciation. For my part, I thank him for his support and friendship over decades. The Right Honourable and Learned Gentleman, as I think most sensible people know whether they agree with him or not, is a great man. Mr. Jonathan Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to see you in your Arsenal tie. I've worn mine as well, for two reasons. I'm sorry the Leader of the Opposition has not worn his own. Mr. Speaker, before I go on and ask the Prime Minister a question, can I thank you not just for giving me a voice in this place, but for giving representation to my family and those I grew up in Buckingham that you have served so well as their local MP. They have asked me to pass on that you'll be missed dearly by them. Returning back to the football.
Yn ei hoffwn ni cymryd y cyfle I ddeud, ni fydd eich tebyg yn y tîm eto, a mi fyddwn ni'n gweld eich eisiau. I don't think we'll see your like again, but we will miss you in this House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I, on behalf of the members of my party, thank you for your service to this House. You came to office at a very, very turbulent and challenging time for this House, and you've always been very assiduous in protecting the rights of backbenchers and smaller parties, and we thank you for that and wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will never be, because there could never be, a more eloquent and articulate speaker. We will miss your style and your remarkable encyclopedic grasp of detail. And I will miss the literary references, by the way, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And from the Liberal Democrat benches, can we wish you well and congratulate you on a decade, particularly as a modernising speaker, from topicality of debates to promoting diversity within the staff of the House, to reforms to support parents who are MPs. You have helped to drag this institution out of the past so that it can face the future. At this general election...
If I may, could I join with the tributes from across the House to your service and your speakership? Even though our 30-year friendship notwithstanding, I haven't agreed with everything you've done recently, but I've been a big supporter of yours in the chair. You've been a champion of backbenchers, and you've allowed the Chamber to hold the Executive to account and enabled it in a very good way. And can I just say the best of luck and good wishes to you and your family. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I've been in this Parliament for 32 years, and I've seen many speakers in the chair, and I must say, you've been the best. And as we say in the North East, I'm not quite good up in the language of the Welsh, but you're a canny laddie. And can I ask the Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I know the whole House will want to join me in recording that after 10 tumultuous years, this is your last Prime Minister's questions. And as befits a distinguished former Wimbledon competitor, you have sat up there in your high chair, and not just as an umpire, ruthlessly adjudicating on the finer points of parliamentary procedure with your trademark Tony Montana scowl, Mr. Speaker. Not just as a commentator, offering your own opinions on the rallies you are watching, sometimes acerbic and sometimes kindly, but above all as a player in your own right, peppering every part of the chamber with your own thoughts and opinions, like some tennis ball machine, some uncontrollable tennis ball machine, Mr. Speaker, delivering a series of literally unplayable, unreturnable, formally unreturnable volleys and smashes. And although we may disagree about some of the legislative innovations that you have favoured, there is no doubt in my mind that you have been a great servant of this Parliament and of this House of Commons. You have modernised, you have widened access, you have cared for the needs of those with disabilities, and you have cared so deeply for the rights of backbenchers that you've done more than anyone since Stephen Hawking to stretch time in this particular session. And as we come to the end of what must be the longest retirement since Frank Sinatra, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in thanking you and hoping that you enjoy in your retirement the soothing medicament that you have so often prescribed for the rest of us.
I hope you will indulge me one moment while I say a word about you. I'm sure you will. I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the way that you've used your speakership in the decade-long tenure you've had. You've done so much to reform this House of Commons, and our democracy is the stronger for the way that you've done it. You have served for 10 years, you've given real power to backbenchers, vastly expanded the use of urgent questions, which has been overwhelmingly popular with all government ministers, and opened up the number of emergency debates, which is even more popular with even more government ministers. And in the traditions of the great Speaker Leinster and others, you've stood up for Parliament when it has to be stood up for. And I think we thank you for that. Because you've also carried that message internationally as well in the role of parliamentary democracy and parliaments holding governments to account. And as we hope to form a government in the future, we hope to be held to account by Parliament as well. But I also think, and I'm sure the whole House would agree with me on this, you've done excellent work in opening up Parliament to visitors, exhibitions and children, and you've reduced some of these strange customs and strange garments that people wear in this building. And it's all right, it's all right. I know you're all jealous of my tie, but it's okay. And the way in which you've used your office, Mr. Speaker, to increase diversity amongst the staff in the House and make this a much more LGBT-friendly place. You've taken it away from being a gentleman's club that happens to be in a royal palace to a genuinely democratic institution. So I want you to accept our thanks and pass on our best wishes to Sally, Freddie, Oliver and Jemima, your wonderful family, for the support they've given you. And a great celebration today, and I'm sure the whole House will join us in this, is when you and I, Mr. Speaker, celebrate Arsenal beating Liverpool tonight. The Labour Party loves a debate and loves a bit of banter.
I would like to thank the Prime Minister and colleagues for their kind and generous personal remarks, which are greatly appreciated. I want to thank staff of mine, past and present, who have given of their time to be here today for the last Prime Minister's question that I chair. All of them are people who've worked with me for a significant period of time. We've had fantastic relations and a terrific bond, and I hugely appreciate the fact that they've bothered to turn up on this occasion. And in particular, again, I want to thank my wife, Sally, and our 3 children, Oliver, Freddie and Jemima, for the support, stoicism and fortitude which they've displayed through thick and thin over the last decade. I'll never forget it, and I'll always be grateful for it.